you're an introvert. That's why you clicked on this. You want to learn how to talk to anyone. But really, you want to become an extrovert. In my last video, I explained why being an introvert isn't just a personality type. It's a neurological trap, and I promised to show you how to rewire your brain. You've felt it before. Dry mouth, tight throat, that whisper in your head saying, don't risk it. Most people will tell you to just be more confident or memorize conversation starters. But none of that works because none of it fixes the wiring. What if I told you the key to rewiring your social brain is something you've been warned to stay away from? Let's begin. Here's what nobody tells you. Chronic introversion isn't some cozy little quirk. It's a symptom of what? Years of social pain, chronic inhibition, and neurological adaptation to stress. Your brain has literally rewired itself to avoid people. This isn't mindset, this is biology. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, becomes overactive. It overthinks, overmonitors, self-criticizes. It's supposed to help you make good decisions, but in this state, it just paralyzes you. Your default mode network, the internal monologue that's always running, gets stuck on high volume. It replays social mistakes, imagines worst-case scenarios, creates a feedback loop of anxiety. And your dopamine system? It's flatlined. Social motivation depends on dopamine, but isolation, overthinking, and stress kill that drive. So even when you want to speak, the fuel isn't there. You've been told to just go outside, join groups, practice more. But if your brain chemistry is shot, you can't even feel the reward from being social. Worse, chronic social inhibition starts to look like a safe zone, and that's how introversion becomes a prison, a feedback loop. Less social contact, less dopamine, more inhibition, more fear, even less contact. That's why the real question isn't, how do I talk to people? The real question is, how do I become the kind of person who talks without fear? The kind of person who doesn't need a script because their brain is wired to connect. To break that loop, you need a neurological reset. Something powerful enough to temporarily shut down the old patterns and give your brain a taste of how it could feel. And that brings us to something almost no one expects. Alcohol. Why alcohol? Because social anxiety is an overactive alarm in your brain. Every conversation feels like walking a tightrope. You need a hard shutoff for that alarm, something that pauses your inner critic so you can speak. GABA-A receptors, your brain's brake pedal. GABA is the brain's main inhibitory neurotransmitter. It dials down neural chatter, reduces anxiety, and quiets overthinking. How alcohol hits the brakes. 1. Direct potentiation. Ethanol binds to GABA-A receptors, the same sites targeted by benzodiazepines and your calming neurosteroid, allopregnanolone. This increases chloride influx, hyperpolarizing neurons, turning down the volume on every anxiety circuit. 2. DMN shutdown. With GABA-A ramped up, the default mode network, your overthinking engine, goes silent. No more replaying worst-case scenarios, no self-criticism loop. Result, you joke, you connect, you speak. Ever notice how, around your closest friends, you act like a completely different person? Outgoing, funny, fearless? That's your brain's extrovert mode unlocked by trust. Alcohol gives you a shortcut to that mode with new people. It mimics the neurochemical safety you feel with friends, letting you open up in social situations you'd normally dread. In practice, a single drink can help you deliver that witty quip at a networking event. It smooths the awkward first impression jitters at a party. It temporarily borrows the comfort of familiarity, so you can project an extroverted version of yourself wherever you go. You saw how alcohol slams the brakes on your inner critic by hijacking GABA-A receptors. But that's only half the story. Alcohol also supercharges your brain's own calming machinery, neurosteroids, giving you a deeper, longer-lasting shutdown of social anxiety. Neurosteroids are steroid molecules your brain produces on demand, like allopregnanolone, 3-ha-androstenediol, and androsterone. They're positive allosteric modulators of GABA-A, meaning they bind to unique sites and amplify GABA's inhibitory effects. The 5-ha reductase connection. 5-ha reductase is the enzyme that converts precursor hormones into these calming neurosteroids. Under normal conditions, this pathway is slow and tightly regulated. You get a trickle of allopregnanolone when you're relaxed or after orgasm. Alcohol flips a switch. It upregulates 5-ha reductase activity, flooding your brain with neurosteroids in minutes. The science, ethanol neurosteroid surge. 1. Kumar et al., 2002, showed acute ethanol injections in rats tripled brain levels of allopregnanolone and 3-ha-diol within 30 minutes. These levels remained elevated for over an hour, far longer than ethanol's direct GABA-A effect. 2. Van Doren et al. 2000 found that this surge correlates with profound anxiolysis. Rats became dramatically less inhibited in social and exploratory tasks. Behavioral impact. From anxious to assertive. Allopregnanolone and 3-Fa-diol lower emotional reactivity, reduce fear, and enhance social approach. People describe this as, I feel calm but energized, or I can speak my mind without the usual panic. The performance edge. These same neurosteroids are linked to delayed ejaculation and emotional stability in intimate contexts. Why it matters for social anxiety. You recover faster from awkward moments. You maintain composure under pressure. When you have that first drink, you're not just sedating your brain, you're upcycling your own calm chemicals. Use it like this. Sip a single standard drink 20 to 30 minutes before a high-stress social event. That gives you the GABA A hit and the neurosteroid peak, about an hour of optimal social fluidity. The science that proves you can rewire yourself for social confidence. Study 1. UC Riverside. Social enrichment reverses chronic social defeat stress. Let's say you've spent months or years isolated. You've developed social anxiety, low energy, constant self-monitoring. According to neuroscience, that's not just psychological, it's biological. A study out of UC Riverside looked at chronic social defeat stress, CSDS, a mouse model where animals are repeatedly bullied or isolated to simulate depression and social withdrawal. Researchers found something shocking. When isolated, the brain shrinks in the worst places, like the prefrontal cortex, which controls decision-making, confidence, and inhibition. But here's the twist. When those same mice were later placed in socially enriched environments, their brains began to rewire themselves. Increased BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a key neuroplasticity molecule, restored prefrontal cortex volume, recovered social motivation, and reduced stress behaviors. Translation for humans. Even after months or years of social defeat, trauma, isolation, bullying, the brain can recover, but only when re-exposed to real social engagement. This isn't mindset, it's molecular biology. Study 2. Physical activity boosts social motivation. Meta-analysis. You already know exercise is good, but most people don't realize movement increases your brain's drive to connect with people. A 2022 meta-analysis published in Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews found that physical activity upregulates dopamine and oxytocin pathways that directly enhance social bonding and motivation. And it's not just theory. Sedentary people's more social withdrawal, less positive affect in social settings. Regularly active people will be more open, responsive, and confident in social dynamics. Even a single intense workout can quiet your inner critic via GABA and endocannabinoids and shift your brain's default setting from withdrawal to engagement. That's why combat sports are especially powerful. They're social, intense, and force you to rewire fear responses under stress. You literally learn to stay calm in chaos, a transferable skill for high-pressure conversations, public speaking, or standing your ground socially. Here's the deal. You can learn all the tricks in the world, but if you try to pull them off in front of your old circle, it feels forced. They know you as the quiet one. Now you flip the switch, and it comes off as fake. That's why I recommend a clean slate. Move to a new town. No one there knows your history. You set the rules. Why a fresh start works. 1. No labels. Strangers won't peg you as shy or quiet. Every hey you drop lands without baggage. 2. Built-in micro-exposures. Every interaction is practice. You're free to try out your new social skills. 3. Momentum. Each little success stacks up and suddenly you're a different person. You now have the blueprint. A neural shutdown via neurosteroids. The power of movement and social enrichment. The radical fresh start strategy. It's up to you to use these tools and build the extrovert hiding inside. If you got any real value from this video, if it helped you see the wiring behind your social anxiety, here's how you can donate. Hit subscribe. Every new subscriber is a vote that tells YouTube this work matters. It's how you keep this channel alive and keep these unconventional methods coming. So if this video helped you even a little, please donate in the form of a subscription and ring that bell so you never miss a reset tool.